stream.
Hi, chat. I haven't streamed all week today because I wanted to take a break from streaming every day, and also Art Fight happened. So I'm
Fight did
slaying.
happen.
Art Fight did happen. Well, it's happening right now. But
It's cracky. Wow.
but hi, chat. Hi, Reezer. Hi, Eli. Hi, Cracky. Hi, Cracky.
Hi.
I am here with
You are here.
I am here, and so you're here too.
Yeah, I really am. It's like I'm real and live in person. I'm in your house.
Yeah, you are. You're in my beanbag. Nightcrawler, I will get you first. But yeah, I am here today with a new guest for the 14th episode of Nostalgia. You're lucky number 14.
The critically acclaimed show with 50 million viewers and no restrictions on playtime.
I wish that was the case.
Oh, it's okay. I mean, let's be real. Once the popularity happens, people, everything explodes. I get scared.
Yeah, that's true. I'm so glad I'm not popular.
Yeah. Originally, I wanted to be, but then I realized, I'll live.
It's scary, but
It's scary.
do you want to introduce yourself to the chat?
Okay. Hi. My name is Mirry, DevilishMirry, everywhere. I play games sometimes. I make games sometimes. There was like a little while ago, me and Cracky streamed one of those games I made. I like I like nerdy computer shit, like programming. In fact, I'm pretty much interning and working in the IT sector, but because as a kid, I love the shit out of computer stuff, but I'll talk about that in a few. But yeah, I've been just playing games since I was a kid. I mean, who hasn't? But like, I feel like I've also decided, hey, I'm gonna look at the nitty-gritty of games when I was a kid. But also just you know, I have a bunch of characters I want to do stuff with, and of course one of them is like a part of this game I made for my college called Eyes of Demi. So yeah.
I've seen some of the games you put in my promoting channel. I gotta plan to play them eventually.
You probably want to wait. You probably want to wait later this month for that one.
Oh, I'm patient. I can wait.
Yeah, I'm working on a big update. It'll be sometime this month.
Ooh.
It's sort of done. Not really, but it's getting there.
Also, we do tolerate you here, Eli. Toleration is like beyond words. I'm happy you're here. Don't ever talk down.
Yeah, just get yourself one of them Ben and Jerry's or whatever that's not too expensive, and just chill out. You are welcome here.
Exactly. Well,
yeah.
Well, Miri, if it's alright with you, I'm gonna hit you with my first question, if that's alright.
Whoa!
So I'm gonna hit you, with a question.
Okay.
What would you define nostalgia to you? And this could be your own definition or from your own life experiences.
Well, I feel like it's very straightforward, really. It's just like, to me, nostalgia is like this sort of warm, fuzzy feeling you get when you fondly remember something. I mean, as a kid, I had no idea what the hell nostalgia was because I was a kid and I wasn't able to form that feeling of nostalgia. But growing up, I started to understand what people meant, and you know, especially when I turned like 20, like when I started entering my 20s, I started to feel this longing for simpler times when I was like, I don't know, I want to say 6, or the ages of 6 and 12 for me, the 6 through 12 are like the golden years for me, where I felt like I didn't have a worry in the world and I was able to do whatever and sit in my underwear, watch like Nickelodeon and Cartoon Network as on a cable box. And yeah, but yeah, no. to me, nostalgia is just like that sort of longing and remembering fondness of past stuff, which is a very straightforward answer, I know, but like,
No, that's good. No, it's a good
yeah.
answer. Cat thumbs up image to you. You like peeked so hard I couldn't hear you.
Oh my god, I'm so sorry. I'll move away from the mic.
No, you're fine. I just thought it was funny.
Yes. Okay.
No, but I like that. I like that description of like you as a kid sitting here under a watching Cartoon Network. He's like, yeah, me too.
No, there's a picture somewhere in my mom's picture book. There was like a picture of me between ages 6 and 12, where I'm literally just sitting in my underwear playing PS2. I forgot. I don't even know what game I was playing. It was probably well, it probably wasn't Burnout Revenge since that was 2005. But
Mm.
I don't know. We had like a bunch of games on the PS2 as a kid, like Sonic Heroes we got, and then there was like a bunch of. My mom loved Frogger.
Mm.
And then like but also we had that one of those PS2s with like that really bad disc read error problem, so I
Mm.
didn't really get to play that much of it, but that picture does exist somewhere and it's probably gonna stay in the vault forever because it just straight up is me and my tiny whiteys.
No, that's fair.
Listen, as a kid, in fact, as someone with autism,
Yeah.
I had a lot of bad sensory issues as a kid.
Mm.
So like, as a kid, I basically didn't. I kind of just like tried my best to like be comfortable, and everything just made me uncomfortable. So that's why I was like
That's fair.
often like that. But as as a grown, I felt like I'd matured a lot more, and now I don't do that stuff.
Mm.
But yeah.
No, I get you. Yeah, I even shout out to Boo in chat. 100% feel that. Yeah.
Yeah. 12 is when you activated. Yeah.
I don't know when like how old I was when I gained consciousness. I really don't know.
I feel like I gained consciousness several times. Like,
Several times.
6 years old is when I feel like I like started to actually understand that I was a person. But 4 years old, like I don't really remember anything since I was 4 or 5 because we lived in a different place at that point,
Mm.
and we moved like twice, and I barely remember any part of those times where we moved and stuff. But that was back in like it was before 2000. 2000 is when I moved into where I am today, and I've been living in this house since that time. But really, it's just because once I get my student loans paid off, I'll probably just like
Mm.
move out. But I want to stay here for now, just for the financial security, I guess,
No,
with my
yeah,
folks.
yeah, I get that.
Yeah,
It'd be a bitch living by ourselves in this time.
yeah, especially in New York. Oops.
Oh,
Yeah.
oh God.
Yeah, I'm a New Yorker, and it's tough here. Like, everything's expensive. Like, the rent is, like, this one Twitter shit post, I was like, rent's like $59,000 a minute. But, it's like, it's a mess over here, but I'm not gonna dive into that conversation because that's like a whole, I don't want to turn this thing into, like, I don't want to turn this stream into a ripoff of the Young Turks or whatever, so
No,
I
that's
don't want to
fair.
do that.
That's fair. I do
Yeah.
want to ask, like, since you're from New York, is it true that there's like a law where you have to like, what was it? You have to pay to drive, basically. Is that true?
Oh, okay. Are you talking about that whole congestion pricing thing they were
Yeah.
talking about? I heard that got like pushed back or delayed because of problems, and now people are like losing their shit over it. Frankly, I just think it's weird. New York is weird, and our
Mhm.
train system barely works for reasons I don't want to get into right now.
That's
But
fair.
yeah, yeah, but it's a whole lot of bullshit, and I feel like if I went into that tangent here, I feel like again it'd be diving way into the way into a degree of politics. So
Right, right. We don't
so
talk
yeah,
about
that
politics here.
yeah, we're here to reminiscence about
The good
us sitting
times.
us sitting in our living room in our underwear playing PS2. So yeah,
I was just curious if that was true or not. So,
it is. It is. It's all weird here. I don't know what they're doing. I don't drive. I take public transit. So yeah.
okay. I appreciate you answering that.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Still, I pray for you.
I'll live. I'll live.
uh, I'm gonna move on to my next question though, if that's alright with you.
Sure, sure. Yeah, go ahead, go ahead.
Was there any children's media that you watch as a tot that you think would be impactful to kids nowadays in this growing generation? And I'll give you a little bonus so that you can list a negative and a positive impactful cartoon.
Oh, wait, a positive impact or a negative impact?
Both. You can name both.
Okay, positive. I like to think a lot like the vast majority of stuff that was on Cartoon Network.
Mhm.
Like, so Cartoon Network had this sort of understanding that like children's media could be more than just comedy.
Mhm.
And I think that because of that, they understood a lot more of like, detailed storytelling and whatnot. Like I'm talking about like the stuff of Gendy Tartakovsky and how he basically pushed the envelope of children's media with Samurai Jack and his run of Star Wars Clone Wars.
Mhm.
And the more atmospheric silent episodes of I mean, Dexter's Laboratory was very much a comedy, but it did
Mhm.
have those episodes where I felt like they really pushed the envelope in terms of creativity and what a cartoon could be. I feel like there were other cartoons that did that, but it kind of escapes my mind. But it feels like Cartoon Network was the one network that really pushed that envelope of children's entertainment.
Mhm.
And to a degree, I guess I want to say Disney, but in a different answer, because with Disney, I feel like it really stems from them back in the day giving the Ghibli movies a larger platform,
Mhm.
because back in the day they would dub Ghibli movies and they would do them with like star-studded casts, like with Phil Hartman and Billy Crystal and God, what was the guy who played Batman, Christian Bale,
Mm.
and basically like that was crazy, but they got those like very artistic movies like in front of like more people, and I do appreciate them as much as you know I'm not a fan of Disney for other reasons, but
Yeah.
creativity wise, they were a solid company. Negative influences. I kind of hold this opinion today, but children's media, like back in the day, I feel like the kind that were like a negative influence would be sort of like the sort of cartoons that felt like it was just nothing but junk food, like
Mhm.
sugar, like sugary cereal, and it felt like it was always overwhelming or overstimulating. Like if I could give a example, I feel like this is low hanging fruit, but
Mhm.
how back in the day Johnny Test, I mean,
Yeah.
like you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
It just felt like it was always overactive and just was children's media for the sake of being children's media, where they were just kind of making it in a vacuum and didn't know where to like be, how to make engaging stories or whatever. Same thing with like the later run of Fairly Odd Parents, like
Mhm.
that kind of just dove into just nonsense and breaking character and just kind of being obnoxious. Another and yeah, no, it's really just the later run of Fairly Odd Parents, and also just those like very hyperactive cartoons. Like I do have like a modern example of that sort of thing, and it's kind of funny.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of got that vibe of hyperactive, like sugar bomb cereal cartoons when I was watching. Uh, there was a time where I binged Has Been Hotel with a friend, and I kind of like. At first, I got that vibe, but then it kind of cooled down for me. But like,
Mm-hmm.
that sort of vibe just kind of is there, even in today's cartoons, and I don't like it. Though
Mm-hmm.
it has been, I mean, I ended up enjoying it, but it's that vibe exists, and I think it does have a negative influence with storytelling. And I mean, unless you're trying to be straightforward a comedy, like I feel like if there's a cartoon that gets a lot of vitriol for no reason, at least a modern cartoon, it would be Teen Titans Go, because I
Mm-hmm.
feel like they're just trying to make a comedy. Like, I feel like they're trying to eschew nostalgia to just make a DC comedy for kids. And everybody's like, oh, DC, this is so cringe. Why are you making fun of DC? It's like, well, there's a lot to make fun of with DC, especially with everybody like trying to be so dark and edgy. Like, of course, there was like people earlier just complaining about Superman, about Superman saving a puppy. Like, yeah, that's what Superman does. He's a big blue boy. He's a big blue Boy Scout. So of
Mm-hmm.
course he's going to go around saving kittens and trees and saving puppies from cars and all that stuff. He's Superman. Of course,
Mm-hmm.
if he has the means to do that, he's going to do that.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, this kind of veered off somewhere. But yeah, those are my that's what I think about with children's programming. The positive ones are the ones I feel like really push the envelope,
Mm-hmm.
and the negative ones I feel like are the ones that just are kind of overwhelming with their content.
Mm-hmm.
But I guess another one would be sort of like uh the guy who made Infinity Train, Owen Dennis, put it the best, where I felt like kids actually enjoy horror. Like, I'm pretty sure you know that kids enjoy horror. I know that
Mm-hmm.
you're really into Garten of Banban.
Yeah.
So you kind of see where I'm going with this, where kids love being scared. They love creating theories of stuff, and of course that's why stuff like Five Nights at Freddy's and Banban and Poppy's Playtime all took off, because kids love being scared.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, I feel like the cartoons that would be like, very influential would be like, I don't know, things that were more veered on sort of horror, or like, or sitting on the were darker and edgier. Like for me, that were like big influences were like stuff like Invader Zim and Billy and Mandy and Courage the Cowardly Dog. So
Mm-hmm.
stuff like that. But yeah, that's really just my answer to number two as well, expanded.
No, those are very new answers, honestly. I have never heard anyone list off Johnny Test as a negative cartoon. Even though I do agree it is, I just haven't heard anyone say it was as one. So that's like,
Well, yeah, it's just it feels it's basically my low-hanging fruit example of the kind of it's like a nothing cartoon, because it feels like something that's like you eat it. It's like a cereal that just gives you a sugar rush, but is it good for you? Does it taste good? Does it give you nostalgia? No, it's like the oats part of the Lucky Charms, where it just tastes like cat food, but you're gonna get a sugar rush regardless.
mm-hmm.
Yeah.
No, I like that example a lot. I do.
Yeah.
I also do like that is actually a very true statement about like kids like being scared. Cause
Yeah,
like
they do.
Because, like, I remember when I was a kid, I was obsessed with all the horror stuff. Creepypasta, Five Nights at
Hmm.
Freddy's, all that stuff. I was very obsessed with it as a kid. Of course, there's some kids who's like, ew, this is scary, I don't like it. But
No, yeah.
the rare occasion does exist. That's why that it's so popular with a lot of, like, these medias, like you shared.
Yeah, what do you think like Five Nights at Freddy's is always like it just feels weird going to GameStop and seeing it on the store shelves like, oh my god, it exists on Nintendo Switch.
Hmm.
I mean, it's even more surreal to like look at the back of the box and be like, oh hey, that's the engine I made Eyes of Demi in, but that's another story. Um, but yeah, kids love being scared, and like nowadays, kids are. I mean, why do you think kids are like really into like series like that veer towards a more darker and edgier tone? Like I know it's not straight up horror, but I've seen a lot of kids really enjoy stuff like the Amazing Digital Circus. I mean, it's getting a Nendoroid.
Hmm.
It's crazy that how popular everything is nowadays. Like,
Hmm.
but yeah, you could see what I mean. Like kids love the more darker and edgier stuff. That's why I feel like shows like Infinity Train and stuff really never got that good of a chance to build its audience. And
Yeah.
yeah, and you know you got Warner Brothers like giving a torch to everything that's good. So, oh boy.
Uh, the poor animation community, genuinely.
Oh yeah, yeah. I like kids. I think kids deserve quality animation more than ever
Hmm.
because I feel like while we're getting some really badass animation, I feel like a lot of it. I feel like it's like I feel like we don't have this sort of border. We don't have this sort of like middle ground of animation that targets young adults. You know, you got animation that targets kids, and you got your
Animation that targets adults.
yeah, your Futuramas and your Rick and Mortys and your Family Guys, but we don't have like that sort of vibe where you walk into Target and you see this really cool. No, excuse me.
You're
You
okay.
see this really cool graphic novel that's not exactly for kids, but it's not like, fucking Watchmen or whatever. It's like this cool little graphic novel for like ages 10 and up, and you don't get that with cartoons because people think that audience doesn't exist, which is not the case at all. It absolutely does, and
Hmm.
makes me sad because, well, that's actually something I wanted to do with my characters. Like, there's like some times where I'm like, so the story I'm working on with my character Demi,
Hmm.
it veers sort of like towards a sort of teen thing, but there are several times where I was like, if I can make this into like one of those like young adult sort of more kind of grown up teenager thing, I would.
Hmm.
Like I would dial things back a little, but only for the sake um of like, just making it to a more wider accessible audience because frankly, again, I think we live in an era where kids, young adults, and all that are just kind of they don't really have much. Like, have you seen how early Adult Swim airs now? 5 p.m.
Really? I actually didn't know how. I thought it was still like the same. I didn't know about that.
No, it airs. It starts at 5 p.m. now. Like, yeah, they air old Cartoon Network shows, but it airs at 5 p.m. now,
That's
and
a
it's
little
crazy.
different. There goes my sandwich. Sorry.
Yeah, no. Yeah, no, it's crazy because it's like 5 p.m. and you're like, oh, King of the Hill's already on. Okay.
It's already that late.
Yeah, no. Back in my day, Adult Swim was like 8 p.m. Now they have 3 extra hours. It's fucking crazy.
Mm. I remember when Adult Swim would come up like at like till midnight.
Oh yeah. Well, I don't think it was that. Oh, you gotta hydrate.
I see him. Oh no. I got my water. You have to
I don't
hydrate
think.
too.
Yeah. Me? Oh
Yeah.
shit. Okay. Let me go fill.
If I had to hydrate, then my guest has to hydrate. Yum. Yum. Oh yeah. I was in a hotel last weekend. I was super surprised how early Adult Swim aired. I had no idea. I have not been on the TV in a long time. I've not looked at TV, but
I mooch off my uncle's YouTube TV.
I didn't know that it comes on so early, genuinely.
Yeah, it airs at 5 p.m. now because of there's just Cartoon Network doesn't have that much stuff on anymore, which
Mm.
is weird because they are still greenlighting Cartoon Network shows. Like Adventure Time's getting 2 new shows. One of them's for preschoolers.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I don't know. They're probably just gonna slap it on Max or whatever, or do something. I don't know.
That's
Huh.
that's crazy though. My goodness.
Yeah.
Uh, I'm gonna hit you with my next question while you're drinking, if that's alright with you.
Oh yeah, that's so good. Yeah.
So,
Excuse me.
you're good. My next question for you what was your everything toy as a child? The toy you carried around everywhere and you absolutely treasured as a kid?
Oh jeez. Let's see. Um, I want to say my Game Boy.
Mm-hmm.
Like, as a kid, I feel like Nintendo handhelds were like always part of everything I did. Like, I always had a Game Boy, and there was this one time where my big ass head that crushed my brother's Game Boy Pocket.
Uh,
S- So, so mom got us that special gold and silver Game Boy Color that they made that had the special paint that where you like tilt it, it looks silver, and then you tilt it the other way, it looked gold.
uh,
And the power light was like the red dot with Pikachu on there and all that. It was great. I love that. I love the shit out of that Game Boy. But like yeah, I feel like lots of my early video game memories were like fueled with that Game Boy,
mm-hmm.
and I feel like it helped me bond between like my mom and myself more.
Mm-hmm.
If not that, I want to say if not that, then it's definitely when I was a kid, my little this little Tamagotchi collection thing that my mom got me.
Mm-hmm.
And she had one too because Tamagotchi were like the hottest thing back in the day,
Mm-hmm.
where everybody had one and where we're basic. I didn't know how to take care of it, but I had fun playing the little games that you could basically hold up to each other in infrared and play multiplayer. And I would always, and I brought it to school with me even, and my mom would just play that while we were waiting for friends. And I don't even know how I remember that. It just kind of came to my mind out of nowhere. I haven't thought about that in forever, but really just little handhelds are like some of the things I feel like are the toys I treasured the most as a kid, because I love taking things with me, and I love just being able to, keep my mind busy.
Mm-hmm.
Because when I was a kid, school was rough. So being able to bond with people and also just keep my mind busy while I didn't understand math really did help.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Uh, I remember, like, I still have my old, it's not mine, it's technically my brother's, but I decided to keep it since he didn't want it anymore. We still have, like, our old silver Game Boy Advance. People
Oh yeah.
are shooting fireworks outside my house right now, so if you hear that, chat, I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's okay. We're living in the 4th of July festivities. They were shooting stuff here. I wouldn't be surprised if people start shooting stuff soon here.
It's probably because what was it? Everyone was supposed to shoot fireworks yesterday, but it rained really hard.
Oh yeah.
So no one
I
could.
mean, it's raining right now too. Yeah.
No, so I'm guessing people are taking the opportunity to launch fireworks now. But I was trying to say, like,
Yeah.
I want my oldest DS that I had as a kid, that was mine. I shared this before on stream, but it was a light pink DS, like the original one. And I loved that DS so much. I played my Soul Silver game on that for the first time, but it broke in half because me and my brother were fighting over it, and we were like going back and forth, and it snapped, like the top and bottom.
The hinge.
Yeah,
Yeah,
the hinge. I got a new one though, but it's not the same.
Yeah, as a kid, I think one of the things I lost was I was in like high school. No, I was in middle school.
Mm-hmm.
No, I was in elementary school, and I was relocated to a different elementary school as a kid because I really wasn't that good of a student. I really didn't pay much attention in class and stuff, so they moved me to a different elementary school with like different kids.
Mm-hmm.
And it was when I started to like make it was like the time where I met my first two bullies, and it sucked. And one
Mm-hmm.
time I think there was like a kid who just like I was just blabbing to my friend about, it was like 2007, 2006, and Pokemon Diamond and Pokemon Pearl just came out,
Mm-hmm.
and we were talking about it, and then a bully just kind of came over and stole my freaking this Game Boy Advance SP I got for my birthday, which,
Oh.
yeah, no, I was devastated. And after that, I never brought anything to school ever again. And I just, but,
Mm-hmm.
things weren't really allowed in school at all either. So I
No,
don't know why I did that
yeah.
in the first. Yeah, so like, I just, I guess one of the teachers really had pity on me throughout all that and gave me a Game Boy Advance SP, which
A
was
teacher
very
did.
nice. Yeah, it was very nice, and she didn't need to do that, but I really appreciated it. And
Oh,
yeah,
that's really
but yeah,
nice.
yeah, no, I vividly remember that, and it's very it made me happy.
Hmm. Well, that's sweet. Oh.
Yeah.
I just remember like my in school my teachers would like absolutely fucking kill you on site if you had anything from home and brought it like to like recess.
Oh
Like
yeah.
I remember multiple times I brought my Game Boy, my Pokemon cards, even my phone out to like recess to do stuff. Like I was still playing, right? I was just using
Yeah.
it for like the games I play. But then the teacher would be like, give that to me now. I was like, but why? I'm not doing anything wrong. Like, I think that's a stupid rule. Like,
Well,
like I know you were trying to like play outside, but like, if I want to bring my Game Boy, it's not gonna kill anyone.
I guess it was because it was this weird era of school back in the day where there was like stuff like no left behind. So like they were really anal about getting kids to like do really well in school, and if they didn't, then schools would face bad stuff. So I guess I could see where they're coming from now, but at the same time, us as kids, we really just didn't understand that stuff. So that's why we just kind of saw it as like it was just like, being dragged around in different directions, and it kind of really sucked because
Mm,
there was a lot of stuff I didn't know that was going on with school and all that. So,
yeah.
but in recess, I really loved play. I was actually more of a quiet kid because I really didn't socialize well. So I kind of just spent my time inside and just I guess I just borrowed Donkey Kong Country for the Game Boy Advance from a friend, and I just played that, and until eventually I was like
Mm-hmm.
able to do whatever. I mean, I do want to say like, uh, my memories of elementary school are so weird. Like I remember, like this is all coming back to me, and I didn't really think it would, but it's not bad. I don't regret my childhood years except for some instances. So yeah.
Mm. No, I guess that makes sense. I'm still over here just this little spiteful, just like, you took away my phone and I was trying to make a funny video. You bitch.
Oh God, it was like when I became a high schooler that the high school I went to was really really strict about stuff, and there were metal detectors, and
Metal
it
detectors?
yeah, listen, over here in New York, the high school I went to was known for kids with there was like a lot of issues with the school I went to the point where they closed that school down, and they made it into like 3 to 4 different schools. I'm not gonna name drop the campus, but I think if you just look it up on Google, you'll probably know which one. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, at this point, I guess I could say
I mean,
it's kind. Oh, go on.
I was just gonna say, just like, I, no, I can't excuse this. That's so fucking like bizarre. I'm sorry. Like,
Metal detectors?
yeah, in
Yeah.
schools, yeah, cause
Yeah,
like,
because yeah.
I, I mean, I get it, but also it's like huh? I,
I
I
don't.
I've never heard of that. I'm sorry. Go on. I didn't mean to cut
No,
you off.
no, 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 you're good. Like, it was because we were in this era of, like, kids bringing dangerous things to school, but also I kind of living in a lower income neighborhood, people like to assume a lot of bad bullshit.
Mm-hmm.
So, and it's even weirder because that school is still like that to this day.
Mm-hmm.
But you would think the popularity of that school would skyrocket when the exterior of that school was used in different, well, not three different, like 3 Marvel movies.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so like, um, I've told this to many friends, but the school I'm talking about is the same school that they use for the exterior shots in the newer Marvel Studios Spider-Man movies. So it's the
Mm-hmm.
school Peter Parker goes to. So when you see that large campus, that's the high school I went to.
Mm.
I'm not gonna name drop I'm not gonna name drop it,
Yeah, you don't have to.
but yeah, but it's very obvious what high school I'm talking about. And that high school is so bizarre. Like,
Uh.
and I was so pissed off when I graduated. And guess what special company they invited to tour the high school and talk to people about game development?
Oh, what company?
Nintendo of America.
Mm.
I graduated and found out that Nintendo of America visited my high school, and I flipped. I was like, "What? Come on! I wanted to play Ultra Street Fighter 2 with kids. Come on!" Well, not kids, but like,
Yeah,
people
yeah,
my
your
age. So
age, yeah.
yeah, yeah. Like it was I don't know how they got Nintendo of America to come over. I mean, of course there wasn't like people like Reggie or Doug Bowser
Honestly,
or
schools do that thing where
yeah.
like once you graduate, they do all the cool stuff after you leave.
Yeah, it
I,
pisses me off.
I think it's really scummy because I remember when after I graduated elementary school, they changed everything about it.
Hmm.
They changed their mascot, and they
Yeah,
even added like a zip line in the playground.
that sounds awesome.
I
Man, I'd
wasn't
be pissed off
there.
too.
They added it
Oh.
afterwards. I left and I was so goddamn pissed about it. It's a completely different school now. Like I looked at it one day when I was like reminiscing with one of my friends because we went to the same elementary school, and I was just like, what the fuck? Are you
I'd be pissed off too.
like a whole zip line and everything? I'm still mad about it.
Damn. Like, college just doesn't have that sort of like. Okay, so I actively go to college,
Right.
and it
College
just doesn't
student
have
here.
that same. Yeah, it just doesn't have that same vibe. I
Mhm.
mean, of course it doesn't because it's the more grown-up place, but like, I feel like there's lots of cool activities extracurricular activities I've done in college that I really wish I could have done as a kid in elementary school, but I
Mhm.
guess it's because they didn't really have that much faith in kids like me because as a kid I really wasn't that good of a student. Like I kind of just I spent like my entire days talking with a friend about Mega Man Battle Network
Mhm.
and I wanted to play those so bad and I would just spend all my days talking with this kid and I loved hanging out with him. But it got to the point where I think the people at my school were really worried about Mary's performance and blah blah blah, and they just transferred me to a different school, and I was gutted. But I mean, ultimately, I feel like it helped me learn a little more discipline, but I wouldn't say it was like the best thing in the world. But I mean,
Mhm.
I'm in a much better place now. I like to think.
Mhm.
yeah, Battle Network was fucking awesome, and honestly, there was like this weird spot where I was like, oh, I don't like, I'm more, how do I say this? I'm too sophisticated for Battle Network. And then now growing up, I feel like, yeah, it's awesome. It was a really good RPG series, and I'm glad that Capcom made like a collection of it for Switch and PlayStation and all that.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, I, I'm still, I, I'm still
The
boggled over
the metal detectors.
yeah, I'm still processing that. I'm sorry. I listened to everything else you said. I'm just like metal detectors. Like I get it, but also like, but for why though? We shouldn't need them. We shouldn't have to need them for schools, but some of them end up doing. That's so sucky.
Because kids be bringing in their phones and they be filming like lots of stuff, but also,
Like
I guess it was just.
it's not even just
Oh, what?
that. It's like there's still like there's like the dark layer to it as well.
Yeah, there is a very dark layer to that. I really do think that kids deserve the right to privacy because, like, really, like, come on, belts trip up metal detectors, so.
Mm-hmm.
And, I just think that kids deserve better, but
Yeah.
also, it's just that whole high school is weird, man. My high school also had metal
Why? This is
detectors,
the
and
first time I'm hearing about this.
the K9 unit? Are you fucking kidding me? Oh my god.
Wait, what's the
Okay,
K9 unit?
it's like so when the cops bring in dogs,
What?
I feel bad. I feel bad for like saying this because like I don't want this like whole thing to veer dark, but yeah, dogs K9.
No,
They
yeah.
yeah, they're just dogs that know how to sniff for like dangerous stuff, but like that's crazy. Yeah, that is very overkill because like frankly, it's like you don't really need that for you don't really need that for kids. Kids aren't that I wouldn't say kids aren't that dangerous. Nose
Oh.
candy and devil's lettuce. Oh.
Oh.
Okay. Yeah, no, there was a bunch of weed in my high school too, so I get it. But
I'm
there's
s-
nothing wrong with weed. There's nothing wrong with weed, so I don't know.
the closest my school has ever come to like having the cops or anything like that involved was because one time someone like on the internet made a claim that they were going to shoot up my school.
Oh yeah.
It was a grown Russian man apparently. And apparently it was like on a stream as well. I don't remember. I for love this is something I heard. For life of me, I don't remember like exactly who
Hmm.
or where this was heard, but this was heard from the board, and they got cops like patrolling the school basically. That is as far like that kind of involvement has ever entered my school. However, I do remember a lot of times where my middle school principal would threaten to call the cops on us. Like a
Oh
lot.
yeah. Oh yeah, well, that happens a lot in New York too, but like honestly, it's like the high school kids who were just very rowdy and stuff. Honestly, I don't know if it's like any different today. I mean,
Mm.
I feel like with the introduction of TikTok and doing all these different things, I feel like it really has taken off to weird levels where I feel like everything needs to be on social media, but I don't
Mm-hmm.
know. It's creepy to me.
No, I agree with that. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm
No,
gonna move on to the next question. If that's okay with you. I'm sorry. Were you gonna say something?
yeah. No. I was gonna say the same thing. It's like, hey, I totally forgot about what we were supposed to talk about.
We were talking about toys, and then we just got derailed. That happens a lot. Don't worry.
I mean, the metal detector thing boggled your mind, so I didn't blame you.
Because like I swear, every time I interview someone, I learn something new about that person, or I learn something new about the world. Right?
Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy.
It's always like, oh no, what am I gonna learn today? Oh boy. But for my next question for you, Miri, what was something you always wanted as a child? You never got it, but being an adult, you're able to get now.
A computer.
A computer.
I okay, there's a lot of different answers to this, but Okay.
Go on.
As a kid, I wanted game consoles a lot. I would just like, I would flip shit if if my dad. It was my birthday, and I vividly remember being a kid, like a baby, and
Mm.
like being angry that my dad couldn't get me a PSP or whatever. And I don't know why I was so upset about it back then. I was a kid, but like also, and then growing up, I wanted like it was like after 2008, so I was more of a teenager at this point, but I was still sort of a kid. I was like 12.
Mm.
I think it was like this old Sonic forum I used to be a part of would start talking about like playing games like Left 4 Dead on the computer, and I was like, oh my god, that sounds so cool. Like, it sounds so different than me playing it on the Xbox 360. And I was like, wow. And then I couldn't play it because my computer at the time was so weak. So I
Mm.
just wanted a gaming computer as a kid and as like a early teenager, and I never got it because gaming computers are expensive. Like
Mm.
they like range into the upper 700s to 1,000 or even more, and so as a kid I just never got it, and also just game consoles in general.
Mm.
And it wasn't until 2012, 2013ish, where I tried building a computer for the first time because my uncle gave me some money for it, and I
Mm.
failed miserably because the parts were not compatible with each other, and
Oh.
it made me so anxious and so shaky, and I felt it was such the biggest ding to my self-confidence. But
Mm.
then a few years later, I think it was like in 2019, I tried it again and it went better. Like, something still happened, but it was a lot better than that time.
Mm.
And I feel like as a grown-up now, I'm able to like do it perfectly. Well, mostly perfectly. I have my own computer right now. I built myself, and
Mm.
it was a really rewarding experience. Like, to just want this as a kid, and then being able to fulfill my dream as an adult to just have this fancy pants computer.
It's a very big reward. You're just like, yeah, I did that.
Oh yeah, no, I totally did that. I totally did this. It has it has the purple glowy lights and everything, and the little cooler that has an LCD screen on it that it doesn't need. And it
I
could
have the biggest respect for you because I could never build a PC myself.
I could go on all night about building computers, but but y'all are here to hear me talk about
Your
the
child.
the early to mid 2000s. So,
I get it because like, what was your first computer? What was the pieces of? Do you remember what model it was? Can I ask?
oh, oh my goodness, I think I remember. Okay. So, my dad used to work for an advertising agency,
Mm-hmm.
and I think because of this, he would get work computers as hand-me-downs when they would decommission them. So, if I remember the first computer I vividly remember us using, it was this old Gateway 2000 computer. This was back, like, Gateway with the cow boxes and everything. It
Mm-hmm.
was just like the de facto family computer at the time. So my first computer was this big beige box,
Mm-hmm.
and oh god, now here's something I really could talk about.
Mm-hmm.
Back then, it was like magic to me. I sat in my mom's lap pointing to the entertainment section of AOL, being like, I want to see Apple, because the entertainment section had like a little Apple icon, but she just didn't know what I was talking about, and so she got tired and she just turned off the computer, and I was devastated. But growing up, uh, eventually that that gateway would last us quite a while. It got to a point where I think it was like until early 2003 or early 2004 it lasted us, until it eventually just like shit the bucket, and it lived a good life. It
Mm-hmm.
I my formulative years with that gateway, I vividly remember just playing games on it on Windows 2000 a lot, and browsing AOL and being able to go on Kids Online and playing a bunch of web games on CartoonNetwork.com and Nick.com and downloading a bunch of stuff. I think my favorite games as a kid were like the casual PopCap games my mom would download. So, you know, stuff like Bejeweled and Automata, I think.
Automata?
And yeah, it was like this. It was like a sort of like alchemy game where you made like atoms and stuff. I'd have to find it. Listen, PopCap was amazing. That was like the first time I realized that indie developers existed and they made bangers. I think, you know, they went on and they made Bejeweled and, you know, all these things, and they went on until like I think the one game from them that me and my mom bonded over the most was Insaniquarium. There was like this
I love
fish...
Insaniquarium.
Yes, it's amazing.
I love it.
It's one of the... My mom played the original Java version all the time, and after school I would just sit next to her and play it with her. And she would trust me to like shoot the aliens and everything. and then eventually when Insaniquarium Deluxe dropped, it was like, oh my god, everything's so shiny and smooth, and it was awesome. And then the guy who made Insaniquarium made Plants vs. Zombies, and then PopCap got bought by EA.
Wait, the person who made Insaniquarium is the same person who made Plants vs. Zombies? I didn't know that.
Yeah, George Fan. He's a game designer, and he got hired by PopCap after Insaniquarium, I think. And then he designed Plants vs. Zombies. It was very much inspired by deck building, like Magic the Gathering and all that stuff. In fact, George Fan is actually close friends with Edmund McMillan, who made The Binding of Isaac and Super Meat Boy and all that. Indie developers are really close, and it's like a very tightly knit community. And yeah, but yeah, after that we got like a Dell Dimension something in 2004, and we had that computer from that until 2006. Where it kind of just crapped its pants and just died when I was watching. So this was like the advent of YouTube, and like this is when YouTube was invented. So it was like the year 2006. It was right before YouTube was, or it was just when Google bought YouTube, and I remember watching. God. I remember watching with my brother Family Guy funny moments on YouTube because back in the day they didn't give a shit what was on YouTube. You could upload like whatever you want on YouTube, and back in the day I would watch like Family Guy clips with my brother until the computer just died. And we didn't know how to fix it, and my dad got pissed to the point where I think he hired a lawyer and did like a small claims court thing toward Dell, and somehow won. I don't know. I forget.
Oh.
But yeah, he was pissed off, and I guess I didn't want to, like, you know, something warranty, blah blah blah. I don't know, but yeah, ever since then, it's just been other computers. Like in 2008, I was part of this program in my middle school called Dell Techno. Techno, where it's like tech and knowledge. And it was like a little program for us in like in middle school where we learned how to build and service computers. And it was really, really interesting. And at the end of the program, we were basically given these hand-me-down computers for free. So,
that's so cool.
Yeah, that was the coolest shit. That was the absolute coolest shit. And I had like a small little Dell Optiplex that I used forever. That was like my daily driver until 2000 and I want to say 2012 actually, where my dad found a laptop that he gave to me. But back then it was just like that Dell Optiplex and Windows XP and just playing a bunch. And it was at that time where I started to play a bunch of Sonic fan games. And I want to say Sonic Fan Games is the one thing that made me realize that I don't have to be like video games aren't just made by some people in Japan or California or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
They're made by people, and
Mm-hmm.
tinkering with those games made me realize, wow, I can make games. And well, years later, here I am making Eyes of Demi and making Demi Dark Read my OC and all that, and there's a lot more lore to that too, but yeah.
Mm-hmm. Oh, that's really interesting. Oh, I love that for you though.
Thank you.
I'm glad that so much of I didn't realize how like high tech you were. Honestly, we don't get a chance to talk a lot, so I'm learning so much about you.
Oh no, I really appreciate you being interested. Like I could talk about this all night. It's very nice.
I'm glad that you're interested in sharing it.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Miri is so smart.
Cracky.
Oh, I'm gonna move on to the next question. If that's all right with you.
Yeah.
So what was your favorite thing or place as a kid that's just completely gone to the modern age?
Oh my god.
Go
I could answer this in two ways.
ahead.
Okay.
You can answer them both.
The video store near my house.
Mm.
Oh my god.
Was
So
it like
as
a
a
Blockbuster?
kid, no, it was a locally owned one.
Oh.
It's gone now, so there was like a locally owned video store near my house, and I miss that store every day because it was so nostalgic. It had like advertisements for PlayStation 1 games on the top, the ability to like rent older games as part of a deal where it was like 2 or 3 for $6, and you got to borrow them for like 5 days. And I would just rent so many PlayStation 1 games, like, because it was cheap. It was only $6, and back then my family was kind of poor, so so there was just a lot of opportunities where we played we rented a bunch of Capcom games. So we used every opportunity to borrow or to rent like the Mega Man X games on PlayStation, so 4, 5, and 6. And then I think there was a time where I borrowed Mega Man Legends and I was too scared to play it because I think it starts off with Mega Man in this like very dark, dim place, and there's like a horror thing playing, and it scared the crap out of me. What else? What else did we rent as a kid? We rented a lot of stuff as a kid, and my brother rented a lot of like PlayStation 2 games to the point where he started buying them outright. And I think my fondest and I miss that video store every day because that was like a video store where I feel like I was able to actually try out games that I wanted to own, because as a kid I really didn't get the chance to own games because, again, I was poor. My family was kind of poor, so so just being able to like play those games in my underwear in front of a TV on the PlayStation 2 yeah, it was awesome. And that video store lasted until about, I want to say 2011, where they went out of business because, you know, it was harder to compete with Netflix, with the rise of Netflix and Hulu Plus and all that. So they closed their doors, and I mourn the loss of that every day because it allowed me to do so much, and I miss video stores.
Amen.
Part two of this place thing would be the Chinatown Fair. Okay, so as a kid, there's like, so when I was 8 years old, my brother and his girlfriend and his partner at the time. Oh, I actually need to take a sip of water. Hold on.
Oh, take your time.
Okay. My brother and his partner at the time decided, hey, Miri and Miri's brother are really good kids. Let's take them to this one cool arcade spot all the way in Manhattan, Chinatown.
Mm-hmm.
And so we went there, and there was this place called the Chinatown Fair. And unbeknownst to me,
Mm-hmm.
the Chinatown Fair was a big hub for the fighting game community at the time, like back
Mm-hmm.
in the early 2000s, because hold on. Okay. Back then they had all these big fighting games like um Soul Calibur, Marvel
Mm-hmm.
vs. Capcom 2, Street Fighter Alpha 3, and they would just have other games like Dance Dance Revolution and Gauntlet and Mahjong and
Mm-hmm.
just a bunch of other like that arcade was always so packed because the fighting game community would always just hang out there and bet and play freaking Marvel vs. Capcom 2 where you fought Sentinel and Thanos and all that. Like that was so cool back in the day.
Mm-hmm.
And then after I'm never going to forget the time I actually got to go over there with my brother and his partner at the time and just play all those games and just spend a bunch of quarters playing fighting games I didn't know how to play.
Mm-hmm.
But I didn't give a shit because I was having so much fun. And then I think a few years after that, I wanted to go back, but Chinatown Fair got replaced with like a quote unquote family fun center
Okay.
where it got replaced with like they're basically trying to be a knockoff Dave and Buster's
Ah.
where it's like, you have the shitty arcade game, so it's like the sort of like it's like, those like not that great raw thrills Terminator games that you see in like movie theaters and like, a very shallow Ninja Turtles game and just emulated arcade machines and stuff and it's just and like generic Flappy Bird arcade machines and all that stuff. It just I don't know what they did with all those fighting game machines, but it gutted
Yeah.
me. Like it was absolutely gutting. And I think the one thing that really really touched me as a kid, well, growing up, was that I had a partner,
Mm-hmm.
and well, that partner in the long run wasn't good for me, but
Right.
I th- I think they offered to recreate that Chinatown Fair for me, like if I were to ever visit, and it just kind of moved me to tears because
Mm-hmm.
it was such an incredible experience for me that I only got to relive once, and it I miss that experience every day because I never got the chance to really go to arcades and
Mm-hmm.
stuff because they weren't really that prominent in New York. I mean, honestly, now it doesn't now they're experiencing a resurgence with like the fighting game community being even bigger and more mainstream than it was. Like I
Mm-hmm.
think there's actually like a spiritual successor to Chinatown Fair somewhere in New York. And that makes me happy
That's
because now it's
good.
like yeah, it's a big relief. So now there's a place that's not a Dave and Buster's where I could. I mean, hell, the freaking laundromat by my house it has like a arcade machine that they rotate the game every few months. Like just a little while ago, it was like I think they had Mortal Kombat 2. No, Mortal Kombat 1.
Mm-hmm.
And then before that it was Street Fighter Alpha 2. Now I think it's just Street Fighter 2, but it's the laundromat by my house. It's like it's just cool that they have that there. But yeah, arcades just have this sort of huge nostalgic vibe to me, and I
Mm-hmm.
guess it's just because I have always I've always respected the fighting game community,
Mm-hmm.
and seeing how people socialize over just playing video games. Like they video games are a powerful tool to like bring people together, and competition in fighting games is one of those big things.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
Uh, that does sound like a lot of fun. I remember as a kid I also loved arcades. Honestly, I haven't been to a lot. The only arcade I ever go to nowadays is the Dave and Buster's that's near me, but it's not the
Oh yeah.
same. It's not the same,
Listen,
honestly.
I never been inside a Dave and Buster's, but there's
Really?
like, yeah, there's one near my house though, and I've been meaning to go. It's like, it's whatever. I mean, there's a bowling alley that I went to a few years ago, and it was
Mhm.
fun. And of course, you had the little animations on the monitors that, yes, they look exactly as people say they are with the GIFs and all that.
Mhm.
But bowling alleys, it's like the locally owned ones that are even better because they don't
Mhm.
give a shit about whatever they have, and you'll
Makes
have
it
like
even
all these,
better.
yeah, they have like arcade games and all that. And honestly, again, going back to that whole thing about the fighting game community, it makes me happy that people see the value in this because now we're getting like re-releases of now we're getting re-releases of stuff like Marvel vs. Capcom 2 for like modern platforms. Like there was a few weeks ago they announced a collection in a Nintendo Direct and it made me so happy.
Mhm.
But also, I also just hate how we also are living in this resurgence of like these cheap arcade machines, like these arcade one-up ones they could buy from Best Buy for $300 or whatever.
Mhm.
Like like we have these big brands wanting to do these novelty releases instead of like actually putting them to like stuff people care about. Like the Simpsons arcade game. Konami made a Simpsons arcade game back in the day. It got released to Xbox and PlayStation 3, but they delisted it because of rights issues with Fox and Konami and all that. And the only time they ever re-released it in a modern platform were these like gaudy $300 $400 like novelty arcade machines that I think is just a bunch of e-waste ultimately.
Mhm.
Sadly, like I think just not putting these on Switch or PlayStation or Xbox and just letting these like arcade machines they're gonna play for a few weeks and then not really do much of it, it just ends up being a bunch of e-waste. So I don't know. It
Mhm.
bothers me. It really bothers me. And I just wish that, you know, companies like Disney or whatever would be like, hey, no, actually, these things kind of suck, and stop
Yeah.
licensing like the Simpsons arcade game to whatever. Let me just buy it on Switch.
Yeah. Honestly like like yeah, nowadays like the arcade games are like kind of like mid like now.
They are mid.
I will say the occasional bowling alley. There's like a local bowling alley, that's near me, and they actually have some decent arcade games. My favorite like kind of things in the arcades have always been claw machines. I'm a sucker for claw machines.
There was like a time I was in Texas with some friends. We went to we went to a round one. That's an arcade chain that I actually like
Mm-hmm.
because they actually have a bunch of like rhythm games and fighting games and all that, but like they also have claw machines. I never was good at them, but I'm glad I got to experience them at least.
Mm-hmm. I love claw machines. I wish I could play them more, honestly, but I also suck
Yeah,
at them at the same time.
yeah, I get it.
uh, if it's alright with you, I'm gonna ask my next question.
Yeah, go ahead.
What was your childhood hyperfixation, and has that hyperfixation left, or does it still linger, or is it 100% still part of your everyday life now?
Sonic the Hedgehog.
Sonic the Hedgehog?
Sonic the Hedgehog.
How much Sonic
What?
the Hedgehog is in your life?
Oh, so as a kid, I loved the fuck out of Sonic the Hedgehog because
Mm-hmm.
my 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 god, my cousins, there we go, my cousins
Mm-hmm.
had a copy, had a GameCube, and they had a copy of Sonic Adventure 2 Battle, which of course every kid I know played. So we just played the shit out of that, and I was just enamored by it because Sonic the Hedgehog is such an iconic character with such an iconic design. Like that's, and it just became like a giant fixation for me because of course, yeah, thing go fast and make my brain neurons like fire off into like lots of different fireworks. So of course I'm gonna like really hyper fixate on Sonic. And as a kid, I just started asking and buying a bunch of games.
Mm-hmm.
Well, asking really. I vividly remember Christmas 2005, where my brother even bought me Shadow the Hedgehog, which was the spin-off where they gave Shadow a gun and all that. And
Yeah.
I tried my best to find the good qualities even in a lot of Sonic's mid games because frankly, Sonic has a lot of mid games.
Yeah.
There's no denying it. But
Yeah.
as a kid, I tried my best to like be this staunch defender
Mhm.
because it was just my giant hyperfixation. And growing up, yeah, that still kind of lingers, but like, I feel like I'm a relatively grounded Sonic fan question mark who like recognizes that yeah, he has a lot of bad games, but
Mhm.
I feel like the ones that are more experimental are like the ones that are fun. Like oddly enough, I had a lot of fun playing Sonic Frontiers, which is the new one that was like the open world sort of one. That like I remember people were like saying, "Oh, it's so janky, blah blah blah," but I actually really enjoyed it. It was very solid, oddly enough,
Mhm.
and it's like I feel like I'm a more relatively sane Sonic fan who like recognizes the good qualities of the games, recognizes that Sonic Team sometimes doesn't know how to make good games, and I think that a lot of the arguments people get into online with the series are kind of silly,
Mhm.
but also just I also think that oh jeez, my train of thought.
No,
So,
it's okay.
uh, no, you're good. Uh, nah, it's just I feel like a lot of people get into arguments that are so silly about the franchise, and I don't get
Mhm.
it. Like, yeah, I don't know. I just I'm just a relatively more normal Sonic fan who recognizes that the franchise has its ups and downs, but is ultimately a very iconic franchise with a very iconic character, and I feel like said character works in way more media than than I would have thought. Like the movies are actually good.
Mhm.
Like they're actually decent, and it's like I was in the movie theater watching Sonic 2 and I popped off when they like introduced when they teased Shadow. Like that's fucking big. That was big for me and I
Mhm.
was like 25 and so like I guess that's the power of nostalgia.
Mhm.
I've had so much fond memories of Sonic and Shadow that even as an adult seeing Shadow the Hedgehog being teased at the end of Sonic 2 the movie, I was like, "Oh."
Also, Nico, I
It's
see you in chat. You can ask your question. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. I wanted to respond to that.
no, you're good. No, you're good. Ask your question if it's for me or anybody here. Or why do Sonic fans swear on Sonic Adventure 1 and 2 being the best games in the entire series? I think there's like two answers to this. One of them is nostalgia, of course, the topic of this whole interview.
Mhm.
The thing about nostalgia is that's a hell of a drug. But like, usually a lot of Sonic fans have probably grown up in like the era where there was like the GameCube.
Mhm.
So their first Sonic game was either Sonic Adventure 2 or Sonic Adventure 1. And there's just a lot of attachment to that because they just saw it as like these really big grandiose adventures and these really big like dramatic stories and all that. And it was the first Sonic game they played, so of course. But like I just think that it has to do with a lot with nostalgia and them trying something new and trying to do something more dark and serious.
Mhm.
I mean, Eggman blows up the moon, so
He pissed on the moon.
he pissed on the moon. But yeah, um, I think that with Sonic Adventure, the Sonic Adventure games are very well regarded because of those things. But
Mhm.
also going back to them. Oh, number the third answer is obvious is the Chow Gardens, but like yeah, basically with the wave of like collectible pets and all that,
Mhm.
people love the shit out of Chow. So, of course, the Chow Garden was a big reason why people loved the adventure series. Honestly, growing up, I think I was more of a fan of the Sonic games where they try to automate a lot of the stuff where it was very fast action platforming and all that, where they made Sonic more like a car. So basically Sonic Unleashed was I feel like Sonic Unleashed was the perfected formula, even though there was like boring rip-off God of War gameplay to there with the werehog.
That actually
Yeah.
the was it Sonic Unleashed, right, with the werehog?
Yeah.
That was the first
Yeah.
Sonic game I played. I never got past the tutorial, and it's my favorite Sonic game.
Sonic Unleashed is very underrated.
Mm-hmm.
Like, a lot of reviewers back in the day hated the shit out of it.
Why
But I
did
like
they?
because it was popular to shit on Sonic. And game reviewers back in the day were super edgy. Like, I remember being always demoralized when I watched X play on G4 because they would always like make these edgy remarks towards Sonic. But also, I kind of learned that X play was just in general kind of shitty because like they would always like make shitty remarks that bordered on racism and all that. But like
Mm,
X Play and a bunch of other reviewers, it was just cool to hate on Sonic back in the day, but
I
Sonic
see.
Unleashed Sonic Unleashed was actually not a bad game.
Mm-hmm.
I do think the werehog bits were really unpolished because they were just trying to be God of War, but it kind of like set the bar for what how good Sonic games could be when you play as Sonic. And
Mm-hmm.
they kind of went further with that with Generations, and I didn't really like Sonic Colors that much, but yeah. And yeah, I just think that this sort of era is probably my favorite. And now we're in a new era where they're basically deciding that instead of like being meta, they're like, I am cringe, but I am free, with basically what they were showing off with Shadow Generations, where Shadow has cool ass demon wings now, and
Yeah.
and you know, like in interviews are like saying we don't need to give Shadow a gun, he is the weapon, and I'm like, that's fucking awesome.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I'm excited for Sonic and Shadow Generations.
I saw that, like, the trailer where Shadow has fucking wings, and I'm just like, wait, he has wings now? What?
It's like this cool ass black liquid venom power sort of cool thing that they're really going into. It just feels so genuine and sincere that they're diving into how awesome this is, and I'm all for it. And
They are
even
feeding
if
the
it's
fans.
yeah, they're feeding me specifically. Like, I don't give a shit that this is just like a $50 remaster of Sonic Generations with a tiny bit of new stuff tied to it. This looks cool as fuck and I want to play it. I'll probably buy it for Xbox or whatever.
Oh, that's so awesome, though.
I know. I'm so excited.
uh,
Yeah.
I'm gonna step into the next question, which is one of my favorite questions to ask.
Awesome.
All right, what was your first fictional crush as a kid? Does that crush still linger to this day?
Okay, this one's gonna be fun. I had a weird hyperfixation when I was like 12. I was 12. I loved spooky gothy characters.
Okay.
And so like I always had this thing for like I think this is obvious. I mean, I always had this weird fictional crush on Raven from Teen Titans.
Yeah, I suspected.
But also just like also other spooky gothy characters. Like I want to say like Ashley from WarioWare, but and so I was just like I would always just have these fictional crushes on these moody, spooky purple or moody goth characters, and I've always loved them. And they don't linger to this day, of course, because I was a kid back then, and those characters are like, you know.
Yeah.
But like I respect them, and I do want to draw more of them at some point. But as a kid, yeah, I basically had all these giant fictional crushes on those types of characters.
Do you have any newer fictional crushes that are along those lines?
Oh Jesus. I'm trying to think.
Oh, Jesus. Really threw you for a loop on that one.
Yesterday, I mean, I'm gonna have to think about this one because, like, yesterday I was playing Zenless Zone Zero, and of course, I'm like the easiest person to like lure into and just get into like oh my god, this character is hot because whoa, booby. Like
Yeah.
like fucking like the maid characters in Zenless Zone Zero, and then there's like this sort of B stars looking motherfucker with like this wolf
Oh, the
character with
wolf.
yeah, there was like this wolf character with like this sort of mouth muzzle on it, and
Yeah,
I was like, oh my
I
god,
was
this
watching
looks awesome.
I was watching one of my friends play Zenless Zero. I thought about streaming it at some point, maybe.
I liked it. I mean, I liked what I played, but also it just felt so overwhelming to me with all the menus and all the gacha and all that. And also just me and Cracky were talking about this just earlier, where they were talking to me about like how Bass was playing, and Bass was just rolling the gacha because the game gives you a lot of free rolls, and Bass just kept getting lots of like those little orb things that are just like weapons or abilities or whatever, and
Yeah.
I had that same issue, and I didn't want to like get demoralized. I didn't want to get demoralized.
Fuck
like
the balls. I hate the balls.
they're bad. I didn't want to get demoralized playing it because I felt like every time I would like roll for like a specific character, I wouldn't get them, and I understand that that could be a problem, especially as an adult. Fuck! I want that character! See?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, you can see that there's this problem where I don't want to spend money in games like this, especially as an adult with, like, a credit card.
You have too much power at your hands to spend that money, but you don't want to abuse it.
I don't, because I want to be able to go to the I want to get my Wendy's Biggie bag. I need to eat food. So, like, I need the money for food and atmosphere and the ability to live, and not these main, sharp, cool, cute characters in this new game, Hoyoverse made or whatever, but God, but yeah, newer gothy characters are very, fictional crushes. I fucking love Hexmaniac from Pokemon. She's so cute.
The Hexmaniac, yeah.
She's so fucking cute.
Can I ask?
Yeah.
Did you ever because you're a Sonic fan? Did you ever like Rouge the Bat?
Oh fuck yeah! Of course. I know a lot of people who love Rouge the Bat, and I think I have a new friend who likes her a lot, and it's just really funny that they were really pushing this weird, sexy femme fatale thing in like an E-rated game like Sonic. It was just kind of funny. It was really funny.
Did you have a crush on Rouge when you were a kid, or like?
She was all right, but I wouldn't say it was a crush. But it was like, oh god, I really didn't have much of a crush when it came to the Sonic franchise. I mean, I love the shit out of Shadow the Hedgehog, but that was
shit in the woods. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
That's a bear shit in the woods. I loved the hell out of Shadow the Hedgehog as a kid though, because he was so cool. Like of course he was like a fixation for me as a kid. He was a freaking cool ass motherfucker, dark edgy type. He was, he's the Meta Knight of the Sonic universe, as Knight said, or what else?
It was yeah.
It's like you got the Batman to Sonic's Superman, basically, and it was awesome. It was cool. I mean, now it's like now it's even awesomer and cooler as an adult. It's like those memes you see on Twitter or whatever, where it's like you feel like you're more sophisticated when you're like 20, but then you grow up to be 25. You're like, you recognize all these things are fucking awesome. Like,
yeah,
it's like I play a lot of Final Fantasy 14, and I noticed that people like really get very anal about some of the plot relevant details.
Mhm.
And I'm like, why? Why are you questioning this? This is fucking awesome. It's because it's fun. It's because it's awesome. It doesn't need things don't really need an explanation. You gotta revel. You gotta revel in absurdity and embrace it, and also just like, accept things for what they are. I guess.
Yeah.
Everything doesn't need to have an answer, and that's okay.
Mhm.
Whew. But yeah, Hex Maniac and Rouge and who else? What other gothy characters are there nowadays in video games that I feel like I would totally go hoo-ha over? I feel like if someone named a few in the chat, my brain would just like have a idea bulb, so I would know. But
Trying to think. I'm trying to think of like other Pokemon characters.
there was, yeah, I don't know. I'd have to think of also just I would like stroll through my Steam list, but I
No,
just
that's
like
fair.
yeah, and also just like you seem like a Grimsley person, Miri. Well, the thing is, I never really got the chance to play a lot of the Pokemon games because
Really?
yeah, no, because like as a kid, I had really bad. Okay, so I have this thing that this YouTuber Nakey Jakey called Goopy Goblin Gamer Brain, where if I'm not stimulated with like video games, like letting me do whatever for like the longest time, I drop them. And so Pokemon had this problem where they kind of held you through the tutorials a lot, and
Okay.
it kind of like overstimulated me at the same time. And
Okay.
it's kind of weird because like this is gonna be the weirdest thing I say.
Okay.
The one Pokemon game I actually sat down and played all the way to the end was actually Pokemon Y.
That's not
And a
that
lot
weird. Okay.
Oh, but no, it's weird to me because I noticed a lot of people were like, "Duh, Pokemon X and Y were kind of mid." I'm like, "No, they were really cool. You're just mean."
I don't think I think X and Y is pretty cool too because that was like, besides afterwards, I think X and Y came out before or after. It came before Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire, I believe.
No, Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire came after. Yeah, they came after X and Y because they were like the remakes based off of X and Y.
Yeah. So like it was like the first like new generation on the 3DS. Yeah, X and Y was
Yeah.
great. I thought it was really good.
Yeah, there was like this. It had the novelty of being like the first Pokemon games on the 3DS, but I guess by Sun and Moon, it kind of had this sort of weird thing where I think Game Freak was like, I don't know. I feel like there was just a lot of issues with them trying to get games running on the 3DS and it looking relatively good because like it started to show cracks where I felt like the Pokemon series isn't that technologically impressive anymore, especially with
Right.
the newer ones where it's like they run like doo-doo. Especially when you have like more technologically impressive games on the 3DS like Monster Hunter and I'm gonna get like shit on for this, but I really thought that if there was a game that really captured the vibes of being a youth during the summer, and was a monster catching game, it was probably Yokai Watch. I really enjoyed Yokai Watch.
Oh, I kind of like Yokai Watch.
Yeah, Yokai Watch was actually pretty good. It's very underrated. I feel like not that many people gave it a chance because they thought it was a Pokemon ripoff.
Yeah.
Which makes no sense because Nintendo publishes both.
Wait, really?
Yeah, Yokai Watch over here was a Nintendo game. That Nintendo just slapped their name on there, like they published it over here. I mean, yeah, it was like mainly level 5, but Nintendo
Right.
was the one localizing and publishing it over here.
Like
And they were
Nintendo was
really
fine
funny.
having their label on it, so clearly they didn't think much of it.
Yeah, they regardless, they were just making money. It's just I felt like a lot of people shit on it all because of they
Creature
thought it was
catching.
a Pokemon. Yeah, every creature catching game that wasn't a Pokemon game was suddenly a ripoff. Except Shin Megami Tensei, because Shin Megami Tensei is for not kids. Yeah, I mean, I want to play SMT5. I actually really do want to play SMT5, especially now that they made a new version of it that's not just trapped on the Switch.
hmm
But yeah,
Oh, that's so crazy though. My goodness.
yeah.
SMT's full of sexy ladies.
SMT's full of sexy ladies, and the thing I'd want to say, but
hmm
I don't know if it's too work appropriate. So it's a bit.
If you have to consider it, then probably not for the sake.
Yeah, I'm not gonna. Don't worry. Don't worry.
Okay, so you're good. You're good. uh, moving on from crushes though. What sounds, smells, or images trigger your nostalgia?
Halal food.
Food?
Honestly, this was yeah, food, but like a specific type of food. So I live near like a halal cart, halal food like lamb gyros and chicken over rice and all those things.
Mm-hmm.
So there was like back in my old neighborhood. I used to live in a place in Brooklyn that's now a higher class neighborhood, but
Mm-hmm.
also near a lower class neighborhood. And because it's like, food carts are so abundant in New York,
Mm-hmm.
the smell of halal food really triggers my nostalgia because I remember smelling it all the time when I lived in that older neighborhood.
Mm-hmm.
And now that's gone as I grown up. And there was like a time when I was like on my way home from I think upstate New York with my family,
Right.
and we drove by a halal food cart, and the smell of it just hit me like a truck because it made me think of like all my memories as a kid, like just like oh my god, like
Mm-hmm.
being in like these places in Brooklyn and Queens, just like it hit me like a truck because I just never smelled those in like forever, and it just made me want like it just made me want to like just buy a gyro. But
Mm-hmm.
also just like but also another smell that's like nostalgic to me and triggers memories is like I want to say like the smell that's in an arts and crafts room, because you had all that
Mm-hmm.
glue and construction paper, and it had that weird sort of, I wouldn't say musty smell to it, but
That
it had
sweet,
that
sweet
sort.
smell of glue.
Yeah, exactly. It had this weird smell to it that I associated with kindergarten, this sort of
Mm-hmm.
arts and crafts smell, and
Fair
then the
enough.
paint
Yeah.
and stuff. And so, like every time I enter like a school setting and I smell that smell, I just think of I just see myself being teleported back to kindergarten, where I'm like a little Miri, just like graduating because
Mm-hmm.
I was reading The Big Brown Bear and all that. Like,
Aww.
yeah, no, those are really good memories. Like
Mm-hmm.
just playing in the play kitchen and learning my math and being able to adopt the class goldfish. That was like those were all very good memories to me, and really just the smell of arts and crafts rooms made me think of that.
Mm-hmm.
Sounds or images. For images, I immediately think of the. So this is both sounds and images.
Mm-hmm.
For sounds, it would be the sound of an old computer starting up. So like
Mm-hmm.
computers nowadays are just silent. Like
Yeah.
they're just were, but like back in the day you had like the hard drives were so much louder,
Yeah.
so they would make like this sort of sound that provided all this ambience, and it added, as I said, it just added a bunch of ambience to like rooms and computer rooms and all that, and it was just nice to be in those rooms and hearing that and seeing like the older Windows desktops when before everything was so smooth and bitmapped and like and like all vector graphics. It was all like sprites and the
Mm-hmm.
classic Windows logo and and these font and these like pixely fonts and the bright the regular teal background of Windows 2000 and 98. Like stuff like that really does take me back, and just having that on like a old beige box with that with a loud ass hard drive and all that, and just
Mm-hmm.
the sound of connecting to AOL dial-up, that was like ear ear, like that just takes me back. It just reminds me of like going on CartoonNetwork.com and Nick.com and playing a bunch of games, like, and just
Mm-hmm.
browsing the internet. Like I feel like I browsed a lot of the internet as a kid, and I feel like I was able to indulge a lot of my curiosity. In
Mm-hmm.
fact, I think I think that as a kid, I may have veered into these weird spots. I think the farthest I went was I think the farthest I went was this goth social media site called Vampire Freaks.
Okay.
And it was all right. So for those who don't know, it's a clothing brand now.
Mm-hmm.
They used to have a store in New York City, but no longer.
Mm-hmm.
But back in the day, they used to be a social media site, and my brother and his partner at the time
Mm-hmm.
were really into this sort of alternative sort of space with edgier music and goth fashion and all that. And so they were both part of Vampire Freaks. And as a kid, I was so weirdly enamored with this sort of subculture. So I started being a poser and started like messaging randos and started like asking people, are you goth?"
Oh
And
my
my
god.
and I think the funniest time when that happened was when I
Mm-hmm.
messaged some rando on an AOL like chat room, and they just responded to me in all caps, "I'm a Christian." It was like thinking back at that now, it's hilarious.
I'm a Christian.
I was just, I don't know what was my deal. But
Oh.
yeah, that was me back in the internet days, and it was just, oof,
Oh, how
it was so funny.
glorious.
It was very glorious. Would I do it again today? No, but here I am, just like going. There's so many goth bitches.
There's so many competitions.
Oh, you're talking about Shin Megami Tensei 5. I thought you were talking about like Vampire Freaks. But yeah, those sounds and images and smells. Yeah, they bring a lot back,
Mm.
especially my childhood.
Mm-hmm.
That and the Macintosh, the sort of like bong you hear when you start stuff up. They still
Yeah.
use it today. They still use it today, so it's not that nostalgic, but yeah.
It's still nice to hear it though.
Yeah, I hear it all the time at my internship, so
That's good.
it makes me feel happy.
Oh, that's wonderful. Uh,
Yeah.
I'm gonna move on to the next question now.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think nostalgia or having nostalgia is a weakness or empowering as we grow up?
Both.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like nostalgia is empowering when you use the good memories you have growing from it to influence your creative endeavors to do something new.
Mm-hmm.
So, so like, I think when you like use your favorite game to like influence something that you're making that's new,
Mm-hmm.
I think that's using nostalgia to your like advantage
Mm-hmm.
and being able to create the romanticized version of what you grew up with in your take, and just it's like all awesome and cool, and it's just like like what you imagine this being and the improvements you think, and this, and you know, this sort of like nostalgia to empower yourself to do these creative tasks like newer. It just like, you know, just these creative things new, it just like it's awesome, like taking what worked about the N64 Zelda games, throwing out what didn't work, and doing it better
Mm-hmm.
because you imagine it this way. It just it's just great. But I think the times where nostalgia is a weakness is when we like is when we kind of just steep ourselves in it and never like move on
Mm-hmm.
and just end up creating this endless vicious cycle of nostalgia. So like I think an easy example is what Nickelodeon is doing nowadays, where I feel like they're continuously putting out like revivals of cartoons that don't really need a revival.
Yeah.
Like the Rugrats revival that they had a few, like it's already delisted from Paramount Plus. Like they gave it a few seasons and then that's it. And just the issue is that we keep on bringing back these revivals without like a purpose or like
Mm-hmm.
anything new to say. And it's like we keep giving it like stories like character gets iPad and stuff like that. Like
Mm-hmm.
I think there's a few exemptions to this. I think the newer season of Futurama was it's pretty funny. Like at least when you get past the first episode, when that's very much a drag. But like
Right.
I think when it's like stuff like the Animaniacs revival on Hulu
Mm-hmm.
and a lot of these other retro revivals, they never really have anything to say, and it's like people like think they want these things, but when it actually happens they don't like come back for it, and so it gets canceled after a season, and then we realize that nostalgia is a hell of a drug, and it's a huge weakness, and we're just in this sort of like we're in this sort of slump where we're continuously making revivals of stuff, but we're not doing anything new.
Mm-hmm.
And but there are some exceptions to this. Like, I know that the original 1990s X-Men cartoon recently got a revival, but I heard that revival is actually really, really fucking good. So,
Mm-hmm.
when you empower it to do something new with these characters, that's the good thing. But when you just have nothing new to say, you just repeat the same story treads over and over, but with CGI or whatever,
Mm-hmm.
it's just a giant weakness. And I hope these big companies get out of this creative slump soon, but I don't see them doing that, and it sucks.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hmm.
I do really like that, like, I like the way you describe like it being both a positive and negative is how we interpret it, honestly.
Hmm.
Because
Yeah.
go ahead.
No, you go on.
I was just gonna say, because like it is up to like how we use our memories for like continuing on, and and like depending how people can use them, it can really negate whether it be a positive or negative impacting.
Yeah. I feel like the best types is when we take what worked back in the past and move forward with new stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And the worst of it is just when we just continue using these things and have nothing new to say.
Right.
That's what it is. Yeah.
That was a good answer. Good answer. Cat thumbs up emote.
Yay!
I don't remember what stream it was, but I just agreed with like another like person I interviewed who's like, if I like an answer but I don't know what to say with it, I should just say cat thumbs up emoji.
I mean, yeah, I'm glad that my answer is very sound and nice.
I like your answer that gives thumbs up. I just don't know what else to add to it because it's so good.
Aw, thank you.
Of course. Uh, I'm gonna. Oh my god, there's so many fireworks. I'm sorry if you can hear that, by the way.
It's okay. I'm going through the same thing, so.
It's like so loud. Oh my god. But moving on to my next question here. Uh,
Yeah.
if you could bring one thing from your childhood and bring it into this current day and age, what would it be? It could be anything from an old TV show to a discontinued product to anything.
Okay. Kids websites.
Ooh.
Bec- yeah, I was just thinking about this the other day.
Mm-hmm.
Kids don't really have a good place on the internet to call home.
Mhm.
Like, like you and I, we all grew up with like these different kids portals that kept our minds busy, like
Mhm.
Webkins and Neopets
Moshi
and Wizard
monsters.
and Toontown and Wizard 101 and all that
Mhm.
stuff. The issue is that with the advent of everything being an app now,
Mhm.
and also just the internet fueling so much more into like advertising and all that, and just content being really struck to just like short form videos like on TikTok and Instagram and YouTube Shorts.
Mhm.
We've kind of lost the fact that we kind of lost that kids don't really have a place on the internet to call home
Mhm.
or to like socialize with other people their age, which, it sucks because I
Mhm.
think that we would really benefit and kids would be a lot safer online if they surrounded themselves with other kids that informs, like, when I was a kid, I posted on the 4Kids forums, and I played games like Nicktropolis and all that and Toontown Online, and I knew that other kids were playing it,
Mhm.
and it meant a lot to me because I felt like I was able to have a community of people I could befriend because I didn't really get along with people at school because I was
Right.
socially awkward, but like we do it online when we're playing, like, we're fighting the cogs in Toontown together. It's awesome.
Mhm.
So the fact that there's no community for kids nowadays, I feel like it's a huge detriment. And
Mhm.
I think that having a space that's engaging and also not just stuck to an app or has like zero like value as a product or
Mhm.
whatever,
Mhm.
I feel like it'd be really beneficial to just let kids have something, I
Mhm.
guess. Like, kids can't just be posting on, like, we can't just have like this entire generation just be a bunch of iPad kids.
No. No.
Yeah. Especially like I think it's getting really weird with Gen Alpha kids where
Mhm.
besides the whole Skibbity Phantom Tax Ohio speak, but besides that, which is
Oh,
really funny to me, I think the
skibbity
biggest issue
toilet.
Yeah, I think the biggest issue here is
Mhm.
that I think it just kind of skews their reality. It kind of just skews the reality into thinking that what they see in this sort of vacuum, like on TikTok and all that,
Yeah.
is applies to the entire world,
Mhm.
even though it's just a small little part of it.
Mhm.
And I feel like the death of kids communities just sucks because kids no longer have this sort of like diverse view of all these other positions of other kids. Now they just see what these select people see,
Mhm.
and it just skews their brain, and it's so weird.
Mhm. I I do absolutely agree that like that's like the one thing I absolutely like that would be like my answer too like
Yeah,
like kids websites MMO specifically
yeah,
those are those a lot of those were diminished due to Flash Adobe Flash being taken down.
yeah.
So like in but by the time Adobe Flash was like gone, like most of us were already grown up for MMO games, but still sucked though. Nowadays there's barely anything for like kids to go to. Like yeah,
Yeah.
it's depressing because I don't want to see kids on Instagram like showing me their Stanley Cup or like trying to fit into like this adulthood when they're like 8 years
Yeah.
old. That's like disturbing to me, and I feel bad for kids like that because that means they're just like they're not being children, like
Yeah.
they're being like young teenagers and soon adults, and that's not okay.
It's like them falling into the influencer trap at such an early age, and it scares me. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I just think that kids communities need to come back. That and I don't know what's another answer to this because I feel like let's see. I guess another answer to this would just be like
Mm-hmm.
I guess Nintendo handhelds, because I
Yeah.
feel like with the Switch, it's great. I love the Switch, but the issue is that I feel like Nintendo should make more of those like more niche like not AAA games like Dylan's Rolling Western and Pushmo and all that stuff we would see on the Switch on the 3DS eShop. But other than that, that's really the only the biggest answer I could give is kids websites and kids
Mhm.
communities.
Mhm. No, I get you. I get you. I miss MMOs. I miss them so much. Why are they so hard to come by?
Final Fantasy 14 online.
Oh, I need to play it. Everyone's been telling me I should play it, but I'm just like, I don't want to play it.
It's really good. It has a free trial up to level 70, blah 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 blah. It's really good. I,
I,
I really enjoy I really enjoy it, and the first two expansions are free.
my only reason to be interested in playing it is because of the one hot guy in it.
Which one?
I think his name's Sid. Is his name Sid?
Oh my god. Yes!
He's really hot.
Sid's great. I
I heard
There's
they
this one.
divorced.
You could say that.
So he needs a woman, huh?
Yeah, he needs anything, but I also think that he's already taken by a different character that makes a lot more sense in the story. I don't know. I don't know how to put it, but without spoiling, but
I'll
yeah,
just have to play the game eventually.
yeah, it's a treat. The entire game's a treat. I recommend it. Although I also know that MMOs are very overwhelming and overstimulating. So I don't blame everybody for not wanting to play Final Fantasy 14 or
It's more or less I'm
Albert.
just like I just don't have the time. Every time someone just asks me, he's like, Tim, you should play this game. I'm like, nah, no.
No, yeah, I get that. I have an internship to worry about, and I haven't really gotten a chance to sit down and like everybody's playing Dawn Trail. Like, oh my god, Dawn Trail's so good! I'm like, yeah. But like, I just started Endwalker. What did Cracky say? I'm gonna do a big sneeze now. Aw, good night, Cracky.
Good
Have a
night,
good sneeze.
Cracky. Take care. Thanks for stopping by. I carry you.
Oh, yeah, I can't pick some up and put some in my pocket.
Puts the fish in your pocket.
And they would just poke out my pocket with the Cracky Pog huge room.
Pog Cracky.
Listen, it's such an iconic emoji. I love it.
I'm so glad that you love it so much.
Someone post Cracky Pog, please. I need to see it. Oh, excuse me.
You're good. I wonder if I can post Cracky Pog. Hold on. Where's
There it is. There it is.
Yeah.
I'm pointing to it on the screen.
there?
Right
It is.
there.
There it is. I'm so happy you love the Cracky Pog.
Listen, every time I show Cracky off in a thing I draw, it's always that picture.
It's always gotta be
But
the Pog and Cracky.
Yeah. But yeah, yeah, kids need community. That's it.
I agree. I absolutely agree. I'm gonna move on to my next question for you.
Oh, sure.
What was your thing as a kid? Was it art, gaming, writing, any of the sorts? And how's that hobby and skill developed over the years? And how would you compare it to your younger years?
Oh, definitely art.
Mhm.
Art and computer stuff. So art would be my dad used to work for the Hammermill Paper Company.
Mhm.
And because of that, he would bring these giant reams of paper, and I would grab that computer paper and just start drawing all over it, and just creating these little stories in my head about how this one character was doing lots of cool stuff, and I loved drawing as a kid, and my parents didn't appreciate it because I basically tore through computer paper all the time, but like I loved like doing all these things and creating all these stories. So eventually I started to explore. Okay, I finally get to tell this story. In 2008, I basically drew a lot of art,
Yeah.
of Sonic and stuff, and you know, I still have that art underneath my bed.
Mhm.
It's crazy. But like at that age, 2008, I think I was introduced to a specific Sonic fan forum with a bunch of friends, a
Mhm.
bunch of people that I ended up becoming friends with, and a lot of these people didn't end up being good people, but the select few that have, I hold them dear to my heart. A
Mhm.
lot of them we're still friends to this day,
Mhm.
and at that point, a lot of them were really into role playing, and
Okay.
I was interested in goth subculture. So I basically took like what was me, like a version of me, and made them all edgy and goth and emo and all that. And
Uh-huh.
I was I was the lone human interacting with a bunch of Sonic fan sonas and all that, and I ended up role playing with my friend my friend Matt all the time.
Okay.
And my friend Matt and I are still friends to this day, which I'm very happy about. But like it was I because of that I started developing my art more. I started to just not draw in MS Paint as much, even though I still do.
Mhm.
Like, you know, I do it for fun, but
Mhm.
I feel like mouse doodles sometimes help me out with plotting a specific thing. Like I could show you one later, but
Yeah.
uh this character ended up being the basis of a character for a story that's really important to me. So, I've had this story in mind for a long time named Midnight's Calling.
Mhm.
And Midnight's Calling is a story about a boy, not a boy, they're non-binary.
Right.
A young goth named Demi Darkreed.
Mhm.
And Demi is bound with a supernatural entity. And this character has been in my mind since 2009.
Mhm.
It's crazy because I've grown up with this character alongside, you know, they grown up alongside me.
Mhm.
And the thing about Demi is that they are a reflection of what I went through growing up in the like their story takes place in the year around the ballpark of 2005 to 2007
Mhm.
because that's where I feel like that's where my formative years were, where I felt like I dealt a lot with coping with the fact that I had autism and everybody I knew didn't have it, and
Mhm.
depression and anxiety, and my interest in the goth subculture, and also just, you know, stuff with gender and sexuality. That stuff too. Like
Right.
I, I feel like my experiences growing up with that bled onto Demi,
Mhm.
and Midnight's Calling has become this really important, really personal story to me. Only because I've also been working on it since in some shape or form since 2009. Debbie Darkreed is basically my Sonic OC without being a Sonic OC because they were a human.
Uh-huh.
And Eyes of Demi, that game I made, is basically the first step in me finally telling this story, and I've had it in my mind, my brain since 2009. It's crazy.
Mhm.
Um, there was another part to this question.
It was how would you compare it to your younger years?
Oh, I feel like I'm a lot better now, but as a kid, I was a lot more motivated. Like, as a kid, I tore through a bunch of, like, stacks of paper.
Mhm.
And now I have a lot of trouble just bringing up my drawing tablet to my computer. I don't know if it's because of my meds or not, but sometimes I get, like, this really bad brain fog, and I barely could do anything.
Mhm.
But, usually oh yeah, the part two to this was computer stuff. I feel like I'm a lot better with computer stuff. A lot of people were like, hey Mary, can you help me out with this computer problem? I mean, it's my internship now, and
Mhm.
messing with Sonic fan games as a kid and reverse engineering stuff and like understanding propositional logic and all that, and making Eyes of Demi, which tries to teach about propositional logic in computers, it led on to me getting internships. Like
Mhm.
a few weeks ago when I was interviewing for one, the recruiter was like saying, "What's this Eyes of Demi Darkreed thing?" And I'm like, "Oh my god, I can't believe I'm living in this the 2020th the 2024th year of our Lord and Savior. This recruiter for this company is asking me about my fucking OC." I'm just like dumbfounded. And I'm just like, I'm so glad you asked. I made this game to teach like people who might not know about programming propositional logic.
Mm.
And they're like, "Did you draw all this yourself?" I'm like, "Yeah, I sure did." He was like, "Oh my god, that's so cool." And then like, I talked about how it teaches people about computer logic, and then I think I've impressed people with it. And it got to a point, I mean, it must have impressed people if I'm fucking like in this internship now, so
Mm.
I like to, so like that's the reason why Demi is so near and dear to me. I feel like they represent me growing up and represent me also just advancing in life. Like, it's how art and computer stuff just kind of tied into one thing.
Mm-hmm.
And Demi's my Blorbo,
Your
basically.
Blorbo.
Yeah.
I love that. Aw.
Thank you.
That melts my heart for you.
Oh, I'm so glad because I'm just so happy. Cracky knows Demi for like forever. Cracky, like I know Cracky's sleeping now, but like Cracky definitely knows Demi when I was like it was like way back in 20
Mm.
I want to say like 2013. I've known Cracky forever.
Mm.
Yeah.
Aw. That's still so cool though. Aw.
Thank you.
Oh, of course. No, it's like I'm just happy for you, honestly, because like I in all honesty, you're just really skilled, Miri. I admire that a lot.
Thank you. I mean, you're really skilled too. Your artwork is really cool.
Aw.
I really enjoy the stuff you do, like the live 2D models with the wiggling like sleeves and all that. That's awesome.
Oh,
Not
thank
live
you.
2D, PingTuber Plus. I
Yeah.
use that a little.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm very happy with my models. I hope at some point I can get more models at some point. I would like a proper model. Like, man, 3D models look so good. Tim's art is awesome. Boone! Boone, I'm gonna get you. Aw.
Tim's art is awesome. There's a reason why I commissioned you like twice for two different things. Like,
Aw.
come on, you drew Miri Pog. I've been like hyping up a Miri Pog for like forever. Like I was like telling Cracky, yo, I need to throw Tim at money. I need to throw money at Tim so I could draw Miri Pog.
You need that Miri. You needed Miri to pog.
Yeah, no, and also it was just like I was just finished watching. It was like I just finished my internship and I was just finished watching Ted on Peacock, which is kind of funny. I'm like, I should commission Ted. But yeah, I ended up doing that. It was great. And yeah, now I have Mary Pog. Oh my god, oh, Sleepy Fox, thank you. I totally forgot. Let me go.
Forgot to drink water.
Yeah, I forgot to drink water. And also, I kind of got used to the bathroom, so I'll be right back.
No, take your time.
Oh, I'm like,
Aww. y'all are too sweet to me. I'm gonna get y'all. Say my art is so good. I'm gonna get y'all. Sleepy, damn it. I'm working on it. I'm drinking. Oh my god. Alright, but I'll be sour. No, I didn't mean that. I didn't mean it. I didn't mean it. Chat, I'm on like this is just like a side sharing while Miri's BRB. I've been on such like a Newgrounds binge recently. Like I was just rewatching a lot of Newgrounds stuff, like Madness Combat. Oh, I love Madness Combat so much. Make shit, bring back the Hank plushie and Shirky plushie, please. I want the Hank plush so bad. That is Combat the Tank Man, like all those animated shorts. I love Newgrounds shorts so much, especially Spooky Month. I love Spooky Month. I was just at the office on one Sunday. It was epicness. Oh, that's so awesome! I'm so jealous, Boone. Oh, I hope you had a good time. I genuinely hope you had a good time. Oh yeah.
Okay, I even though I was in the bathroom and also getting my water, I did overhear you talking about Newgrounds stuff, and yeah, I have a lot of nostalgia for that too.
I wasn't a Newgrounds kid, but I've seen a lot of stuff like over my time, and I just learned just like get to appreciate like the Newgrounds stuff.
I mean, that's why your avatar on Discord's Pico.
I love Pico. I love
so
Pico.
like, for me, thank you, a sleepy fox. So my personal favorite Newgrounds person was Egoraptor back in the day.
Oh
because
yeah.
Me and my brother watched Metal Gear Awesome 1 so much. We just watched that shit over and over. And also just watching like other animations too. A lot of them were very raunchy. And then there was like stuff like Super Mario Brothers Z, and I think there was like the Sonic Final Fantasy thing and other stuff. But like it was like a bunch of animations by a lot of people who ended up working on like actual cartoons, like not that's such a mean thing, not actual cartoons, but like network cartoons,
like licensed cartoons.
Yeah, no, like fucking Psychic Pebbles ended up working on SpongeBob once, and also like that's crazy. And then he like now there's Smiling Friends, which is like big, like really big. I like Smiling Friends is so funny. But
the industry, yeah,
basically the industry. Like how Studio Yada is just full of a bunch of like former Newgrounds animators, and now they're working on like I think they animated on like an episode or two or Digimon Ghost Story. That's crazy. Like Newgrounds animators going to work on like Japanese anime. Like that's what they were doing back in the day. I know Egoraptor doesn't animate that much anymore. I mean, he did animate one thing for like a sort of Dragon Ball Z thing to like pay tribute to Akira Toriyama. But like I feel like a lot of those people influenced me growing up too, because I feel like it kind of shaped my humor in a weird way, because a lot of that was very cynical, very dry, and very NSFW. I think I ended up seeing a lot of not very kosher stuff. No, not very kosher stuff on Newgrounds, I'll say that.
Yeah.
But I'm not gonna go into detail because it's not very safe for work, but yeah.
No, I get you. I get what you mean though.
But yeah, Newgrounds was very influential to me, especially in terms of indie games too, because like there was a lot of like independent games there, and also just like what else? The ones that ended up going to console, like Super Meat Boy, Castle Crashers, Alien Hominid, those The Binding of Isaac, technically, those are all like Newgroundsian games that ended up just becoming big and stuff. But yeah, did you ask the number 12?
I did not. I'm about to though.
Okay, go shoot.
What would you consider the cringiest thing you did as a kid? Would you do that same cringy thing again, or would you have changed it if you could?
As a kid, I had no tact. And because I had no tact, I said things very matter-of-factly. And because of that, I was kind of a jerk as a kid. Like, when I was 6 years old,
Mhm.
I very much remember telling like an old lady, like matter of
Oh
factly,
no.
you have you have pimples.
Oh.
I was I am very
You didn't have a sensor.
I did not have a sensor and I had no tact. I would basically shit talk people right in front of their faces and it sucked. If I could go back in time and be like, "Yo, what the fuck, bro?" I would do that, but also I kind of recognize that I was 6. Like I was a 6-year-old and I had undiagnosed autism, so
Uh-huh.
like I got diagnosed with autism in high school and it made everything make so much more sense. So
Mhm.
that's the reason why I as a kid I had no censor. I basically just said things as they were, and things that I didn't know were offensive I ended up like indulging in until someone told me, "Hey, that shit sucks." And I was like, "Okay, sorry." Like I was a very, you know, I was a kid that had no censor, but I was also a smart kid that learned a lot. So if someone told me that that was bad, of course I'm gonna stop doing it. So,
Uh-huh.
but yeah, the cringiest thing would just be having no tact because that shit would get me in trouble and it would make me look like a rude motherfucker as a kid. And like when my brother told me that I was a good kid, I was like, no, I don't know, man. But I guess I wasn't that bad if my brother was saying I was a good kid. I mean, I also was a tattletale who like told on authority figures too much, but
Uh.
I yeah, no, I was a tattletale as a kid and I would just like back when my brother would have things like weed or whatever, I'd be like, "Oh my God," but like, you know, weed's legal in New York now, so it's not that big of a deal.
Right.
It's not a big deal at all. Like I I think I know a lot of stoners. And they're all cool.
Mhm.
And you know, hanging out with stoners means usually I get food. I'm able to feed myself too. So yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah, like did they order like I don't know. I know like people I know like my fucking friends will just order a shit ton of Little Caesar and like, "Oh, score."
Well, that's
uh,
good.
yeah, no, there was like a time where my friends got the munchies and just ordered a shit. Oh God, are we allowed to talk about this on Twitch? I think we are.
Is
It's
it
whatever.
like food or?
No, it was just me talking about weed, but it's legal in New York, so I think we're good.
I think it's fine.
Yeah, yeah, it's okay. So like, you know,
Because
they
like
would
there's
get
people who get intoxicated on stream, so it's fine.
they do.
Yeah,
Okay, okay.
I've seen a lot of streams, and I've actually had, uh, not weed specifically, but I imagine it's more flexible because I've seen people drunk on stream.
Okay.
I no doubt that weed is like there's definitely people on stream like I don't know, but definitely someone out there has probably gotten high on stream. So.
Okay, so my brothers, okay, yeah, my brothers would toke, and
Mm.
basically, and you know, my friends would toke, and basically, I just ended up like, I never did anything in my life. I never drunk. I never smoked.
Mm.
I never, really, my only bad habits is like me eating, like, but like, I really think that you know, whenever with I'm with my friends and they order like, you know, they get the munchies, I'm always like, "Oh, score, I get to eat something."
Mm.
It's great. It's great. But yeah, I have nothing against I have nothing against people who do that thing
Mm.
because, you know, it's legal here in New York now. I live near like 50 million dispensaries now. But like
Mm.
uh yeah, I'm not a tattletale. I have more of a filter. I have lots of more tact now. I kind of watch what I say more. Like I feel like that sort of tactless filter thing really bit me in the ass when I used to date someone and I said something really nasty and I regret it to this day.
Mm.
Yeah, it's okay now. I mean, I know better now and that's what matters.
Yeah. No, that is what
Mhm.
matters.
Yeah.
So you had no filter as a kid. So when did you start developing your filter?
Fucking, I want to say, actually, when I was teenagers, like age 13, age 14.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of crazy how late it was, but like, it was because I started to understand that saying X, Y, and Z things in front of people or stuff is bad, actually, and that I should understand that, tact is a thing. And so I stopped, like, being a total dickwad and just started to, like, actually learn to be a better person. And I've had a lot of growing up to do over the years, like, definitely. And I feel like I'm a much different place I was, even when I was, like, 2 years ago. Like, I feel like the development came definitely from me living experiences and also seeking it, seeking some sort of help and all that. So
Mm-hmm.
I feel like I feel like I'm just in a much better place now than I was back then. A much happier place too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, that's like perfect transitioning to my next question then. With that being said,
Oh, great.
do you think your past self would be excited or proud of the person you become, or do you think otherwise?
um, I think if kid me saw the art I would draw of Demi now, because
Mm-hmm.
kid me used to draw a lot of Demi, I think my kid self would shit their pants in excitement because, like, I feel like I've developed so much growing up, and the thing about it is that you're your own worst critic, and
Mm-hmm.
you're gonna think you're not improving, even though you're always improving in some incremental amount, like every day or every so often. But the thing is, I think when it comes to like improvement, it really is seeing the difference between like years ago and a difference between like seeing what you did the other day is like the biggest stuff. Like, honestly, just talking about this makes me want to redraw the picture I feel like I've popped off the most with the first time. Like, I feel like I really popped off with this painting I did when I was like younger of Demi.
Mm-hmm.
Well, they had their back against the wall. It was like the first time I tried out painting, and I was so proud of it. And just talking about it right now, thinking about it makes me want to redraw it. Like now it's been like 12 years.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and yeah, I feel like kid me would be really happy to see how much progress I've made on these characters and how much progress I made in telling stories too, and how much progress I made as me as a person. Like, I feel like I've done a lot of good things, and I feel like I've become a much better person because of that.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like I think kid me would just be really happy about that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I give cat thumbs up.
Yeah, I mean, that's as best as I can put it,
No,
really. I
no,
don't know.
it is. It
Yeah.
is. It's genuine too. So you're
Yeah,
so fair
yeah.
for that.
Yeah, no, kid me would just be thrilled. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
Honestly, like that's like, yeah. I just like I'm having those moments just like, it's
No,
like,
Tim, you're all good, Tim. You're all good.
well, I get it was like, cause man, that's such a good answer. That's such a real answer too.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, I guess to go in hand with that question is also the next question, which is, if you could go back in time, what would you tell your past self?
So like, I just think that the two things I would tell my past self would be, it gets better, and
Mm-hmm.
also knock it off. So it gets better because I feel like there were a lot of times when I was like going through a lot of stuff before I ended up seeking professional help and, you know, becoming medicated, that
Right.
I would fall into these pits of despair where I would not do anything for weeks upon weeks, and I felt like everything sucked, and I just didn't want to do anything, and it was awful. I would hate everything, and I would just live in moments of anxiety, and I would just be very clingy to people, and I feel really bad about that. Like, honestly, seeking professional help and, like, you know, admitting to myself maybe medication would be a good thing and stuff, and getting like actual health insurance and all that through my state, it just really helped because I was able to like turn myself around as a person. And again, I feel like the fact that I feel like my past self would be really, it would really help my past self to know that it gets better, and that creativity really just, my creativity I think really flourishes, and I think it'll just only go up from here. And also knock it off because again, I had no filter, and I just kind of was a jerk to some of the kids back then, so
Right, right.
yeah. Yeah, I really, I think that, I think, you know, it would have been more beneficial if I got along with more randos as a kid rather than just only really being like, you know, I felt like my family only understood me because they were my family, and they knew I didn't mean X, Y, or Z or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But some rando on the street's not gonna know that.
Right. No, that's fair, yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
Miri, I'm at my final question for you for this interview.
How exciting.
I'm sorry.
I'm shaking in my seat, Tim. Lay it on me.
This is the most important question ever. Did you have light-up sketchers as a kid?
Okay, no, but
Mm.
there were very much a bunch of novelty shoes I wanted as a kid. Like,
Mhm.
I would always see ads for Heelys. I
Uh-huh.
wanted those shits so bad. And also there was like this shoe that had like a bunch of filters and all that kept your feet cool. I forgot what they're called, but I saw ads. What?
Filters?
Oh, God, I forgot, but it was
like air conditioning?
No, basically, because there were like filters there. It wasn't like it wasn't like a sort of electronical thing. It was like the fact that there was like mesh and allowed your feet to breathe. It allowed your feet to be cool. I forgot what they were called. I would see ads for them all the time on, excuse me, Cartoon Network and Nickelodeon and all that.
Mm-hmm.
And I did want light up Skechers as a kid, but in fact, I ended up getting a lot of different Skechers as a kid because they were the one comfortable shoe brand I liked. But growing up, now I'm more of a Nike person, but like Skechers were the shit back then, and they were so comfortable, and I wore them everywhere. I just never had the light up one, but I always wish I did. And if I did, I would have loved to have the white ones, the ones that glowed white, I guess. And I guess, you know, growing up lower income and going to Payless, I never really I don't know how many of you remember Payless, but it was a shoe store.
I vaguely remember it, actually. Yeah, it had like an orange dot, right, as like its icon.
Yes.
Yeah, I remember that.
Back when I was a kid, it was like a yellow font and the orange dot, and I got my cool shoes, and I watched my brother play Final Fantasy VII. It was awesome. But yeah, Payless was I think I wanted light up shoes at Payless, and my mom said no because again, we were a lower income family back then. So but yeah, I always wanted novelty shoes, but I feel like growing up, I feel like you know, now it'd probably be counterintuitive. Like, I don't know if they're really novelty, but I think the closest to novelty stuff I wear now are my Crocs sandals. I wear those shits everywhere because they're so comfy and they work. But yeah, no, I didn't have light up Skechers as a kid, sadly, but maybe I'll give them to Demi or something. Oh man, what a wonderful conversation, honestly. I feel like we talked about a lot.
We did. We really did. And I feel like I got to learn so much about you, and we bonded so much.
Oh yeah, no, Tim, you're awesome.
Oh, no, you're awesome.
Aww.
Oh, but no, thank you for joining me with me today, Miri. I had so much fun.
Really? Yeah, thank you for having me. I mean, yeah, we played Fortnite and stuff before, but like, I feel like I've got to know you a little more, and I'm happy about that because you're always awesome and you're a wonderful artist.
Aww.
You're a really cool person, Tim.
Yeah.
I really treasured this time we spent together.
Oh, oh, stop! You're gonna make me stop! Oh, stop!
Oh.
No, but this was truly very fun. I learned so much about you during this stream, Miri, and
I'm glad.
I'm just happy I had this opportunity to have you here. I really am, and
Really, yeah, anytime.
I do appreciate it. I also appreciate chat coming in and interacting with our conversation. I do appreciate that.
Yeah, I appreciate it a lot too.
Especially I love doing these. I love doing these streams. I love getting the chance to interact with people one-on-one like this and have an audience watch us.
Yeah, no, I love little interview things like this. I could go on all day about stuff.
Shut up, Nightcrawler. No, but this has been so much fun. Just thank you, Miri, for joining me, and thank you, chat, for joining me as well.
Thank you for having me.
Of course. I'm not streaming this weekend for my channel. I'm not streaming this weekend, but Monday I will be streaming more Pokemon Emerald Nuzlocke. Let's hope I don't lose any more Pokemon.
Oh no.
I lost my starter twice.
There was like the other day you were like streaming and you lost a Pokemon and you got really upset and I felt bad.
It was my Hariyama, and the thing was that was my recovered starter.
Aww.
I had a Mudkip before and I lost it to Brawly of all people.
Aww.
That bastard.
Aww.
But we still have a lot. Let's see. We got Tate and the twin. I forgot her name. We got the Psychic Gym and the Water Gym to face for Monday, and then Tuesday I have another Nostalgic Chatter interview.
Yeah.
And then I think after that Nostalgic Chatter interview, I might I post this on my Twitter for those who don't know. I said that I might post a Google forum for people to submit if they ever want to be interviewed, because I'm running out of people to approach because I'm not that confident.
Well, come on and chat. Tim's a very kind, not a kind person.
It takes a lot of balls to walk up to a stranger that I don't know entirely and say, "Hey, I want to interview you." Like,
yeah.
But I've never had so far. Knock on wood. I've never had anyone say no to me during when I asked them, "Hey, do you want to be interviewed?" Which is fun. It'd be fine if they said no. I just like it'd be like, "Oh, okay." Because sometimes I like to use my interviews as a slight excuse to make friends, like more friends, because I get shy and I don't ever get a chance to really talk to people. So
I feel that.
So this is like my excuse is like, "Hey, I really like you. Can we talk on stream so I can be your friend?"
Yay, friends.
That's how a lot of cases. Actually, that's how I got closer as like Boone and Chat. We were just like Twitter moots, and then I invited him to be on my second interview actually, and now we're tight.
Yeah.
We tight. At least I think we are.
Yeah. Hell yeah.
But I am planning to do like a Google forum probably Wednesday. Heck yeah. Heck yeah. got me really invested in Newgrounds. So yeah, Tuesday is definitely going to be another Nostalgic Chatter episode, and then Wednesday I'm gonna have like a Google forum thing where people can submit like an application to be interviewed, because it's like an optional thing. So that's what I'm gonna do. For the next following days, for the upcoming week, I don't really have a set plan. Just stay tuned to my server, and I'll update about that.
Stay tuned, y'all.
In the meantime, I'm gonna send out a raid. I'm gonna quickly, let me check if this person's still streaming.
I mean, I don't think I
have
need to raid myself because I already got Terminix by the house the other day, so.
Let's see here. Looks like they're still playing, so we're gonna go raid this person. There we go.
Whoa. Bye, everybody.
Thank you again, everyone, for stopping by. I appreciate you all, and thank you again, Miri, for being here with me.
Anytime.
I'll see you all Monday, and y'all take care. Bye-bye!
Bye, everybody.